screen that popped up there. I don't know if I've ever done a YouTube live. This might be my first live ever. But I was talking to one of our local activators in one of our communities, and he made a comment that when he first met me, one of the first things he did was go to our YouTube channel, and he had all these questions about Innovation Collective, ASOP Industries, the software, my other startups, my work with teenagers back in the day. And like he was like, I just went to YouTube and I started like watching everything I could that was about your startups and about the work that you've done. So it inspired me to start trying to use YouTube more, even though I'm kind of not great at it, but I'm going to get better. So first off, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. Would love that. And I think there's like a bell button. Touch a bell button if there's a bell button, because that'll then alert you if I pop up. If you don't want to touch the bell button because you don't want to be distracted, that's fine too, because I prefer that you actually add beauty and value to the world as opposed to being distracted by your phone all day long. With that said, I am here to focus on and talk about one thing and one thing only today. I'll talk about a bunch of other things over time, but today I'm going to talk about designing an innovation economy, which might sound super boring to you, but part of the work we do inside of ASOP Industries is that we focus on designing economies for our partners. And our partners are universities, they are foundations, they are governments, cities that ask us to come in and analyze what's going on in their city and how to build a more vibrant startup economy that retains young people, builds a strong tax base, starts to grow patents, brings in investment dollars, because everyone wants a creative economy, an innovation economy. But it's not as easy as you think. A lot of people think, well, if we just set up like a cool venue with ping pong and foosball and we let the nerdy kids talk about tech, then it'll happen. The only thing that'll actually help in that is if you let the nerdy people talk and you create a space for them to do that. So the difference is in designing an innovation economy is a lot of times when we get brought in by, if it's a government or by some outfit, we get brought in to do a 2-month process. We call these designing flourishing plans. When we do this 2-month process, we look at all the data on a city we can. So we look at their demographic data, income, historic economy, things that we can learn about a town. And in this specific instance, we just got done with one today, a 52-page report. We just finished up a 52-page report. And this city was formed literally in the 1980s. So imagine that, a city that was formed in the 1980s. What does that mean? Why is that important? Well, to us, it's super important because guess what they don't have? A downtown, because they were formed in the 1980s. So there is no downtown, like town square to this community. Which, is that a problem? Some people might think it's not. Guess what it is? Because there isn't a main walking area in a downtown for people. So you've got to start to look at a town in a different way. We almost look at cities like sim cities. So our team came in. The first group we brought in experts. We brought in somebody who's an expert in art and someone who's an expert in the environment because we thought they wanted to be around arts and environment. And then we also brought in an expert in sociology and psychology around kind of digital technologies and civic life, because that was also another interesting opportunity because this city is one of the top 5 most diverse cities in the United States. So super diverse as well. So we did this analysis, the first 2 months of this analysis process, first 2 months is just spent consuming desk data. So we look at all the demographic data. Then from there, we take that demographic data and we move into analyzing the sentiment of the community. So we actually start to embed in the town. And for about a week, we go to restaurants, churches, sporting events, thrift stores, grocery stores, and we start to interview and talk with the town about the economy, about opportunities, about their habits, about their behaviors, about their thoughts, about their dreams, their hopes. We go online, we go into social media groups, and we pick and we pick and we pick until we start to pull on these threads and realize there's some commonality amongst the residents. On top of that, we meet with the stakeholders. So then we start to meet with the city council members, economic developers, former mayors, current mayors, chamber of commerce, the school districts, different small business owners, larger business owners, real estate developers, you name it, on and on and on it goes. We meet with everybody who makes up the town. We start to look at the pattern matching of what we're hearing. We validate it with that group, and then we also listen. Once that's all done, we take all that data, not only from our team, our research team, the experts we brought in to come and observe in the community. We also wander. We spent 2 hours in a grocery store, not shopping for groceries. Like, imagine what that's like, spending 2 hours in a grocery store, not stopping for groceries. And it was simply just hanging out, talking to the store workers and talking to customers and analyzing patterns and behaviors and habits and what products are in the store, because it starts to tell you about a town, weirdly, things you probably have never done and wouldn't think about. Then from there, we start to design an economy around all the data, the experience, the experiments, the information. And then in this specific instance, 52 pages later, we've had a blast designing it. Remember, it's one of the top most diverse cities in the United States. There's a lot of problems in the United States right now around diversity. We're seeing cities with their demographic changes, and they're not really sure how to handle it. It's creating a clash in some places. They're not sure if they can build a strong civic fabric. So one of the things that we've encouraged this community to do is to build an innovation economy where they come up with softwares, books, games, hardwares, new ways to approach building a strong civic fabric where people are socially, economically, politically, spiritually connecting in meaningful ways, and how to export that as consulting firms, intellectual property, all the other pieces. So that's a fun one that we got to design up for them to look at. Another one was integrating art around the diverse culture, but specifically integrating their food, because they have a killer food scene. So imagine going to a museum, and at every single stop in the museum, there's straight up like Costco sampler bites that go with the painting or with the sculpture, and it's tied to a specific palette kind of burst explosion that reflects the local food scene and diversity. It's a great way to pull tourism and draw people in. It's also an opportunity to do TV shows, to do live art experiences, to kind of pioneer a new art brand that you can export as well. You think of Meow Wolf or Blue Man Group, other things, there's potential to do something around food and that as well. And then we also have one other economy that we have them looking at, but I don't want to tell you because it has a policy barrier. So there's a new policy in this specific state that states something has to be done by all the residents in that state, and yet no one's really doing it. And so it's enforceable, and I want this state to be the one that comes up with the solutions for everyone else in the state and then exports it across the United States and around the world. And so they're working on some ideas around that as well. It has to do with environment. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing on this video. My name is Nick Smoot. I'm the founder of Innovation Collective over a decade ago, and we've been in over 400 communities in the last 10 years. It's been a lot. It's been fun. And the whole thing is about how do we unlock the magic in people, the residents of a town, and really help that grow into something special. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Subscribe, like it. I don't know. I have one person watching this right now. So if we can get more, that would be great too. I don't know if we should get more or not, but I'm gonna try using this instead of Facebook for a little bit, just to give it a whirl. I don't know really how all the buttons work and features, but I'm gonna experiment with it. There's like a blush. I could put blush on live chat. Oh, that's what blush does. It's not blush. Maybe it's blush. There's pop and blush. I don't know. We're done with the filters. I think we're done with this as well on this post, but I'm gonna come on occasionally and talk about the work that we do. Maybe I'll talk about the policy work. I just got back from being in Washington, D.C., and can talk about some meetings we had at Emerson Collective. It's a beautiful campus that is, it's called Sycamore and Oak, and Emerson Collective is one of the main developers. They're doing some incredible work in real estate development and community development. It's a family foundation that's tied to Lorraine Powell Jobs, who is the wife of deceased Steve Jobs, and they're doing some cool stuff out there in DC. Spent some time with the founder of America Online, spent some time with Microsoft, and a bunch of great venture capitalists all talking about overlooked America. So I'm gonna go, I'll do more of these. Subscribe if you like it. I don't know what else to tell you, but thanks.